The Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority has created a program of home evaluation where trained inspectors will come out to your home and give you a detailed assessment so you know exactly what to do. Today we have two of those inspectors with us. I'd like to introduce, on my right here, we have Daniel Reese, and just beyond him we have Nick Rodriguez. Guys, welcome.
Thank you for having us, Rich.
Good. So we're going to do this a little bit differently. We have some photos that represent what people will see out there when you're doing your evaluations. We'd like to hear your comments of what the problems are and how people should go about fixing them.
Sounds good.
Great. So let's take a look at the first one. Daniel, I'll turn it over to you. What do you see there?
Well, Rich, I see a large Italian cypress tree right up against the home there in what we call Zone 0. And as we just saw in the video, these Italian cypress trees are extremely flammable, and they're on a list of hazardous species that we'd like to see removed, especially that close to the home.
And due to the flammability of the trees and how combustible they are, the best mitigation would be to remove the tree altogether. If you're using the tree as a form of a privacy screen or something like that, then they have a lot of great options on firesafemarin.com that you'd be able to reference and choose from. Along with that, where the cypress is located, it's actually creating a ladder right into the house onto the ivy that's connected to the house. And if the cypress gets going, then it's going to connect to the house, and it's almost unsavable after that.
Yeah, that is a dangerous looking property. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, Nick, what do we got here?
First thing I see here is a bed of combustible mulch that's actually connecting to a wood grating at the bottom of the house. That's not what we'd recommend. If you're going to use a combustible mulch, make sure to have that mulch pulled back away from the house. At least 5 feet, because you're putting a combustible material right next to your house.
Yeah, and to add on to that, the wooden lattice there at the base of the house is not something we recommend. We recommend a metal screening so that we can enclose off underneath the home there and does not transfer fire from that mulch to the home.
Right. So I see that's a very fine wood mulch. You know, the pieces are really small, almost like hair. Does that make a difference with mulches, how thick they are?
Absolutely. We're definitely going for a thicker gauge mulch, anything bigger than an inch. Any of that smaller stuff is very receptive to the embers and is easily ignitable and can cause a small fire near the home.
Great. Well, and we can see this is right up against that wood lattice. How far back do you need to pull it to create a good space?
So we recommend pulling it back 5 feet, and then in that 5 feet area using a non-combustible mulch or even just bare soil all the way around.
Great. Good. All right, let's see what else we have.
Here we have looks to be a foundation vent to a home. It's what allows the home to breathe and not retain any moisture underneath. This is a traditional 1/4-inch style vent that actually appears compromised. And what we're worried about with these is embers entering the home and igniting any insulation hanging below the joist base. So we like to see these upgraded to a finer mesh.
Yeah, like Daniel was saying, not only is it compromised, the mesh already alone is a little too large and would allow embers in. What we're looking for is something smaller than a match head. If you could put a match head in the mesh, then it's too big. So anything smaller than that, and make sure it's a steel mesh.
So I know there's a lot of things on the market for putting into these foundation vent openings. Can you explain what some of those look like?
Yeah, so we can either go with a smaller gauge vent, a 16th to an 1/8 inch vent, or you can go with an engineered vent, which would be a Vulcan vent. And they're actually treated with a chemical, there's a honeycomb material inside, that it closes off when exposed to direct heat to seal off and prevent any embers from entering.
So stopping embers and direct flame.
Exactly.
That's a real plus. Yeah. And of course, it goes without saying that we don't want all the little critters to get into the home through that space.
Definitely don't want the critters.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Whoa, this is really pretty dramatic.
Wow. First thing I see here is just a mass amount of brush buildup. That seems to be what started the fire ladder and really got the fire pushing towards the house. With the house where it's located on top of a hill, from what I'm seeing in the picture, having some spacing between those shrubs is very, very important, especially the steeper the slope, you need more spacing in between each shrub.
Yeah, so typically on a flat ground surface, we like to see 2 times the height of the shrub space. And as we get up a steeper slope, more spacing is required.
Yeah, I'd have to say this is not an uncommon look in Marin County. You got a home on the top of a hill. That's a lot of brush that hasn't been cleared down there. It's extremely high. So we're looking at brush that's really touching itself. Again, what's the spacing that we want to have with that?
The spacing again is 2 feet or 2 times the height of the plant on a flat surface, and as you get steeper up the slope, you want to start increasing that spacing, and that's just going to prevent any preheating of vegetation above the slope as those flames move uphill.
So Nick, do you think there's some consideration also for what type of material you plant there?
Oh, definitely. You'd want to plant something with larger, waxier leaves, something that doesn't hold a lot of dead material. Definitely don't plant any juniper or cypress. Those things tend to catch a lot faster, burn a lot hotter, and move fire a lot faster, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you can almost see there's an outside deck there, so it's just flying up the hill, hits the deck, and it's pretty much impossible to save the home at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Great. Well, guys, thanks so much for visiting us with us today. That's really helpful. And for those of you who are out there, I hope that you'll have an opportunity to interact with some of our inspectors out there. They really do a great job, and they are happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Absolutely.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.